5 years ago, 6 years ago, or whatever, I would not have said Tesla is going to be a leader in manufacturing process. And like the people we talk about the Tesla production system, the stuff you're talking about says that they are becoming that they're ahead in a lot of manufacturing process stuff.
They spend an awful lot of money, a tremendous amount of money on R&D for manufacturing and material science. And if you don't invest in material science and you don't invest in manufacturing and you don't invest in software, you are screwed. You're not going to win. You can't win. I don't care about wow, look at that dazzling paint. Or let's put little LEDs that change color all the time. That, to me, is just bullshit. It's just a waste of time.
And this is what I was talking about with Apple, right? Because in the front end, they spend a ton of money in R&D, and they don't trust their suppliers to build to spec on the capital equipment, right? And so they teach them how to do it. They have employees there that are at the facilities when the capital equipment gets delivered. They'll sit there, they'll sleep there until they can get to, production mass quantity units, and then they'll go. So, it's just different relative to the automotive traditional legacy.
Sandy Munro has always been super bullish on Tesla, and these days there is yet another interesting interview that's been going around, and in it he shares his thoughts on what the future of Tesla might be. So in today's video we're going to dive into the latest details of this interview, and what Sandy Munro thinks about Tesla, the company everyone can't stop talking about.
How hard is a Cybertruck going to be to repair in fender benders?
Their fenders don't bend.
Yeah.
Well, everything bends.
It's the other guy who's going to have the problem.
Yeah.
I watched the I watched the videos that they had.
The IHS.
All the stuff. They broke the Sorb machine. I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to take quite a bit. Even a machine gun has a hard time with a Cybertruck.
That was pretty
impressive.
impressive.
I watched the one where the T-bone came in. It went bang, hit the door. The door went like that for a second, then it went pop. It's martensite. Martensite isn't.
So explain that. What the hell's martensite?
Okay, so all stainless steels start off usually as austenitic,
which means what?
Which means that it's non-magnetic and it's body center cubic. So body center.
I won't
cubic,
even ask you what that.
Okay, so that's an allotropy. So the allotropy, is different, and it basically it's firm. It's really tight because there's things inside. Main ingredients being nickel and chromium.
Okay? So martensite means really, really hard.
Martensite, I didn't even know.
Now, if you're a Tesla fan, you know that one of the car's main selling points is its autopilot and self-driving features. This outstanding performance has been recognized by leading figures in the automotive industry, including Sandy Munro, who reiterated why EV users buy Tesla cars. In a recent interview, the Tesla bull pointed out some important facts and information about Tesla that people need to check out. And in this video, we're going to walk you through all the details. So watch until the end so you don't miss out on anything. Let's get into it.
But here's my question then. Is BYD technically where Tesla is? Is it software defined? Is it centralized zonal computing? Is it Ethernet? Is it gigacastings? Is it all that kind of stuff?
It is not.
No.
But they have invested in expansion. So over the last 2 years, they've entered like 60 markets.
Right.
And they have the Seal, they have the UN Plus, they have the Dolphin, and then the Seagull, all under $30,000. So where exporting to Europe or the United States eventually, or North America, for those products, it'll take some time because the BYD brand, creating awareness, education, and trust. The reason it makes so much sense for these Chinese brands to enter Mexico, either to produce, is not just because entry into North America. It's also because they can sell domestically into Latin America and South America at that $20,000 price point. So,
well, I think, and this is a moment where I'll bring up the word tariffs, because there was just a story this morning that the Biden administration, I can't remember who wrote it, but somebody had a story. The Biden administration is looking at raising the tariffs on Chinese vehicles. I can't remember, what is it now, like 20%?
25.
27.5. So it's
okay.
2.5
so that's not
for
high enough,
everything,
apparently.
and then 25 for Chinese.
And the European Union is growling about dumping and whatnot and unfair trade. I mean, what is a company like BYD? I mean, it's kind of like Back to the Future, right? This is what the Japanese were in the 1980s.
Exactly right.
So what happens next?
Well, what happened with the Japanese?
Mhm.
We rolled over and let them in. And why was that? Because nobody in North America could give the consumer what they wanted. They wanted a small car. It had to be fuel efficient, and they wanted high quality. Well, buy a XYZ car.
Yeah.
It's made in America. Wave the flag. It's a made in America. Wave the flag. It's made. And it didn't work out.
Sandy Munro is an engineer who went from being a big Tesla fan to being a big Tesla bull. You know, when long-term bears finally become bulls, well, that's the story of Tesla and Sandy Munro. And it's been quite interesting to watch. Munro's initial assessment of Tesla vehicles was poor. However, as he looked longer and longer, Munro marveled at Tesla's engine computing approach and speed of innovation. And now the investment expert has something even better to say about Tesla. Hey guys, welcome back to Tesla Tomorrow. In 2022, Sandy Munro spoke with Tesla about his long-awaited new project. The automaker is developing a platform that costs half the price of a Model 3. When asked if Tesla can't meet its cost-cutting goals, the Tesla bull talked about Tesla's innovations, the metallurgical process, as well as other bits of information that will allow this move to be more successful. First up, Tesla's design language is very recognizable, and there's no denying that the automaker has created a unique style. For this reason, the EV maker offers some of the best deals in the auto industry when it comes to high-performance EVs. Before we carry on though, if you like this type of content, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to keep up to date on everything going on with Tesla. Tesla is a brand that focuses on performance, and what is surprising is the ability to maintain respectable figures even with its most expensive models.
They were able to meet the street's expectations when it comes to deliveries, and they did a lot better than some of their competitors when you're looking at the expectations. But you are right. Bernstein is still a little bit cautious when it comes to this name here moving forward. And they actually did put a $150 price target on Tesla shares, which would be around a 38% drop from the current price level here. Now, they have several different concerns to be focusing on. First and foremost, obviously focusing on the margins. That has been a little bit of a concern for a lot of investors over the last year. As Tesla continues to cut prices, their margins are also going to contract. And they also believe that Tesla will actually have disappointing volumes in 2024 as well. They're also looking at the situation of valuations. It is trading at around 100 times earnings per share, as well as around 200 times its 12-month free cash flow. So they're just citing a couple of different areas where they believe that the market itself, the investors in Tesla, are going to start questioning the growth opportunities in 2024, what's going to happen with margins, and if the valuations really do match where the current price is right now. And that's where they're kind of headed going into 2024 and their thoughts about the company at this point.
Have investors in Tesla, those who have been along the ride for quite some time, I have to wonder, have Elon Musk and team, kind of earned their trust, if you will? There's been periods of volatility in Tesla in the past. I mean, even, as we kind of closed out 2022, the stock was down near 100. It turned around in short order. It really does seem that investors for this company are quite loyal. And then you got your bears, your Gordon Johnsons of the world that are almost like the Grinch when it comes to this company. It just seems so polarizing. So despite what actually happens with the numbers, it seems like no one's opinion ever changes.
Yeah, definitely, Alex. I mean, you and I are right there on the same page. I mean, the company's trying to operate in a very interesting environment because this is a secular story that is taking place, and we are seeing it develop right before our eyes. So it's really hard to try to attach a valuation to it. If you try to compare it to a car company, if you try to compare it to a technology company, what have you. And that's really been the back and forth going on, not only just for last year, but the last couple of years. I think also just listening to the vision of Elon Musk and the Tesla team, what they want to really do moving forward. I mean, they are really gung-ho when it comes to full self-driving. They do believe that that's going to be a catalyst for them, that's going to be able to provide some long-lasting returns in the future, as well as some of the AI innovations that they have. And I think that's kind of the disconnect that the street is seeing right now. And as we kind of talk about a lot here, I mean, they have a bunch of different areas within their business, especially in energy storage, the supercharging networks. And that's probably one of the most undervalued areas to focus on with Tesla, and one of the fastest ones. And so I'm just going to be very curious to hear if Elon's going to start hinting towards a little bit of a transition, focusing more on the utility network in itself rather than just the car sales, which we know can ebb and flow with economic cycles.
Yeah, and Kevin, I think that's such a good point too, because I actually was speaking with someone that just bought a Rivian over the break, and I was learning that their one issue with the Rivian right now is just the lack of charging infrastructure. But they're so excited to be on Tesla's charging infrastructure starting in 2025, I believe. And they're like one of 25 names at this point that's also going to be adding to this North American charging standard. I mean, I think that is so huge, especially for like the widespread adoption of EVs as a country, really. So I'm excited for that too. I think that a lot of analysts seem to pick apart the parts that they care about, but that's a huge component that is frankly under discussed. So I'm glad you mentioned that, but we will leave it there.
Tesla expects its cars to cost less and sell more in the coming years, especially as the US government is calling for stricter emission standards for EVs. In discussing the EPA's and new vehicle emission standards from last year, Tesla asked the government for a goal of making 67% of new vehicles sold in the United States walk in 2032. The automaker says the new data not only shows how this EV market share could reach 69%, but it also tells the EPA to tighten emissions requirements to phase out gasoline cars by 2030. Before we carry on though, we have an interesting opportunity for all lovers of sustainable and green energy. Do you want to help the world switch to clean energy? If yes, then this is something for you. We all want a better future for ourselves and our planet, but it won't happen by itself. It needs action and it needs money. Fossil fuel companies have a lot of money and power to pull this off, but we have Climatize. Climatize is a platform that lets you invest in solar energy projects all over the United States and earn up to 10% annual return. This platform works by finding solar projects that need funding and connecting them with investors like you. Climatize has a large solar network of contractors and developers who are constantly adding new projects to the platform, which means you will have more options to choose from. In fact, investors on Climatize have already funded over $1.5 million worth of solar energy projects in 2023. Interestingly, you don't even need a lot of money to join Climatize. You can start investing in clean energy with as little as $10, and there are no investor fees attached. Want to learn more? Click on the link down below, or go to climatize.earth/Tesla TMRW to sign up today. Please note that this is not financial advice, and we are not financial experts of any kind. We just want to provide you with updates and let you make your own decisions. So remember, always consult a professional before making any big financial decisions. Tesla is already manufacturing groundbreaking cars. The Model Y, for example, was the best-selling passenger vehicle on Earth in the first quarter of 2023, and it was the best-selling non-pickup truck in the USA in the first quarter, the best-selling SUV in China in the first quarter, and also the best-selling vehicle of any kind in Europe in the first quarter. With Tesla production and sales expected to grow throughout the year, it'll be tough for any other automobile to catch up to the Tesla model. The Model Y has consistently been at the top of sales in the three biggest automobile markets in the world, and this led the Model Y to climb 3 spots to number 1 globally, with more than 263,000 sales to open up the year. The Tesla Model 3 has also been impressive. The Tesla model has annihilated its ICE counterparts in a new reliability study from Germany. A new study from a German vehicle analysis firm, the ADAC, highlighted the reliability advantage, finding that the Model 3 beats out the vast majority of its gas-powered competition. The ADAC study, which primarily focuses on vehicle breakdowns, is an annual study for vehicles that are over the age of 3 years old. And it now includes 4 EVs sold in the German market, including the Model 3, BMW i3, Volkswagen ID3, and the Renault Zoe. According to ADAC data, electric vehicles not only lead their gas counterparts on average, but the Tesla Model 3 beats out both gas and EVs in average reliability by a wide margin. Thanks to the incredible mechanical simplicity of electric vehicles, it should come as little surprise that EVs are on average significantly more reliable than fossil fuel-powered counterparts.
Yeah, so the IEA is sort of combining here battery EVs and plug-in hybrids together as electric cars, they're calling them. So they're going to see that, they're saying that sales will jump 35% in 2023. Now, last year we sold globally 10 million. The industry sold 10 million globally. They're seeing 14 million units sold in 2023, and market share jumping from 14% to 18% globally for these electric cars. So one little nugget here is China still dominates that EV market. 60% of all electric car sales happened there last year. More than half of all electric cars in the world are in China. So a long way to go for the US and Europe to catch up, but it seems the trend is in the right direction there for electric cars.
Does certainly seem like the trend is in the right direction. So you mentioned some of the targets here, what's expected in terms of sales growth for 2023. What about looking further out, 2024, 2025? How quickly are we expecting some of that adoption of EVs?
So for 2030, the IEA sees EV share rising to 35% by the end of the decade. Furthermore, the US is going to hit 20% by the end of the decade, and Europe will be 25%. China, of course, will be at 40%. They're still going to maintain that lead. Now, it's kind of interesting because the Biden administration wants to have half of all cars sold by 2030 to be zero emission cars, which means the US is a long way to go. In addition to the fact that Europe wants to go fully zero carbon emissions by 2035.
You see, Tesla is considered not only an electric car company, but also the very company that first put electric vehicles on the map, at least on a larger scale. And this has been possible because of several reasons, including the supercharger network. A growing number of automakers are modifying their electric vehicles to allow drivers to charge using Tesla's supercharger network. In 2023, Mercedes-Benz said EV customers will have access to more than 12,000 superchargers from Tesla starting this year. The German company joins automakers like Ford, GM, and Rivian in adopting Tesla's technology. This move from Mercedes is a part of an auto industry-wide effort to provide drivers with universal charging ports for their EVs regardless of engine, and it will also benefit the company and Tesla. For companies like this, their EV owners will have access to add-ons that will allow their vehicles to connect to superchargers from Tesla. In addition, EVs launched after 2025 will be equipped with charging ports. This goes on to prove one thing, that Tesla's price cycle is starting, and it is amazing. Tesla offers a global fast charging network called superchargers, and this is one of the reasons why people love Tesla cars so much. Electric cars have always suffered from a lack of range, but the supercharger network makes Tesla one of the best vehicles for anyone planning an EV road trip. Companies like GM, Ford, Volvo, Rivian, Volvo, and Mercedes-Benz have all announced that they will switch to Tesla's charging standard in North America, and that their EV buyers will have access to that network in the coming years. The result of this is that they will likely boost EV sales and lead customers to consider switching to Tesla. While other EV makers are upping their game, the original leader in electric vehicles, which is Tesla, continues to produce the best electric vehicles in the market. But what do you think? Let us know down below, and don't forget to tell us what your valuation of Tesla is. And you can watch the full video on Sandy Munro's interview using the link down below. And for more exciting updates on Tesla, go ahead and click on this next video on your screen. See you there!